The boss arrives at the office only to find her usually cluttered desk is unprecedentedly clean and tidy. She assumes a subordinate did it.
I swear I was gonna stay late and do this myself.
Wasn't me.
Ben came in at 7 this morning and did it.
Who?
Ben, your intern.
Shock is written all over her face because this intern is nearly 80 years old. She only hired him reluctantly to respond to a government initiative. A few days ago, Ben, who had worked hard for most of his life, finally retired. The first thing he did was travel the world. However, it didn't take long for him to start feeling lonely. To shake off the emptiness of life, he initiated a self-challenge mode. Every day at 6 a.m., while the city still sleeps, he is already dressed and ready. His crisp shirt, well-fitted trousers, and polished leather shoes all highlight his self-discipline. Immediately after, he walks to Starbucks and orders a black Americano. He deliberately chooses to sit with strangers, trying to capture the breath of life in their work trivia and family gossip. Occasionally, he chimes in with a casual remark, attempting to gain a sliver of participation in strangers' conversations. Not only that, but he also experiments with golf, reading, movies, card games, yoga, learning Chinese, and even attends many funerals. Yet none of these can fill the void in his heart. His wife passed away early, and while his children are filial, they have their own lives. This lack of being needed makes him feel he is gradually drifting away from the mainstream of life, losing his sense of value. Until one day he sees a recruitment ad for senior interns. Applicants must be over 65, and Ben fits the bill perfectly, so he decides to give it a shot. But his neighbor, an old lady, isn't optimistic. She thinks a 70-year-old man who can't even record a video and still uses an old-school flip phone, trying to adapt to an internet company crowded with young people, is simply delusional. But Ben doesn't give up just because he can't record a video. Instead, he puts on a suit, ties his tie, and fumbles his way through completing the application video. He worked at Dex One for 40 years, rising from entry-level to vice president. He has witnessed the rise and fall of the industry and accumulated experience in handling interpersonal relationships and dealing with various complex problems. His speaking pace is steady. He neither tries to curry favor nor hides his age. Instead, he is incredibly honest. All of his strengths are clearly displayed in the video. This refusal to admit defeat or step back wins him a precious interview opportunity. On the day of the interview, a nervous Ben arrives early. Seeing several other elderly people in the waiting room, his anxious heart finally settles. Facing the interviewer's questions, Ben answers with ease.
Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
When I'm 80.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, whatever. Wait, did not realize you were 70. That question just doesn't work for you, does it? Should we just scratch that one and just move on?
It's your call, Justin.
His composure and sincerity make the interviewer's eyes light up. Ultimately, 70-year-old Ben becomes one of the 5 senior interns. That night, he sets his alarm clock in advance and repeatedly checks the suit and shoes he will wear the next day before falling asleep with satisfaction. On the first day of work, Jason shows the newcomers around and introduces the company boss, Jules. A year and a half ago, she founded a fashion shopping website. Today, with amazing execution, she has grown the company to 220 employees. She is rigorous in her work, responsible, and handles everything personally. To race against time, she rides a bicycle inside the office, partly to improve work efficiency and partly to exercise. After the introduction, Ben arrives at his workstation to start his first day in the senior workplace. The young people next to him take out various colorful gadgets: power banks, Bluetooth headphones, and a cute cartoon toy. Ben, on the other hand, pulls out his flip phone and a vintage patterned leather briefcase containing an old-school fountain pen, a calculator, a glasses case, and a small alarm clock he carries with him. However, faced with the company-issued laptop, he is at a loss. It isn't until Lewis, sitting next to him, actively signals him that Ben finds the power button. Once the computer is on, an email pops up. Ben opens it eagerly. It is his work assignment. Fellow intern Davis is assigned to a rotational post, but Ben isn't so lucky. He is assigned directly under Jules.
It's like I'm going to be a personal intern.
Nice. 2?
Jules Ostin.
Unfortunate. Hang in there.
Colleagues cast sympathetic glances, but Ben doesn't think this is a bad thing. Jules's secretary, Becky, tells him that Jules will meet him at 3:55 p.m. and that he must be on time because Jules has another meeting at 4 p.m. And so, Ben begins his long wait. As the time approaches, he finds Becky and softly asks what he needs to pay attention to when meeting the boss this afternoon. Becky smoothly points out Ben's problems like this.
Just talk fast. She hates slow talkers. Maybe that's just when I talk slow. Don't dawdle in any way. Just keep it moving. And don't forget to blink.
Blink.
Yeah, she hates when people don't blink. It weirds her out. But it's 3:57. This meeting that she's in just took up like 2 of your 5. They're out.
Ben walks into Jules's office with a look that is serious yet humble. Obviously, Jules has no expectations for this elderly intern. To reduce Ben's workload, she even suggests he go to another department.
It's a little bit slower pace, maybe a little bit easier to grasp. If you requested a transfer, we can make that happen.
If that's what you prefer.
You'll be happier, believe me. I am not so fun to work for.
But Ben doesn't think so. He clearly senses that Jules doesn't think highly of him, but he isn't discouraged. Instead, he takes this doubt as motivation to prove himself with even more heart. Jules simply tells him that if she needs him, she will email him immediately. Ben leaves happily, anticipating the arrival of Jules's first email. From this day on, Ben does one extra thing before work every day. He stands before his bedroom mirror, repeatedly practicing.
Hi. Howdy.
He looks forward to using a reliable response to quietly change Jules's first impression of him. However, Jules, entangled in numerous urgent and important matters, seems to have ignored Ben's existence. Until evening, when colleagues in the office start packing up to leave, Ben still hasn't received an email, but he consistently upholds traditional workplace rules, believing that if the boss hasn't left, he cannot leave. So, even though he hasn't received an email, he insists on waiting until Jules leaves before he departs. In the following days of waiting for emails, Ben doesn't slack off. Instead, he finds things to do to demonstrate his value. He helps a female colleague push a cart delivering files and proactively assists his coworkers. His actions gradually attract Jules's attention and win him popularity in the company. Apart from workplace challenges, people also seek his help with life's trivialities. Jason falls in love with Becky at first sight, but recently Becky has been giving him the cold shoulder.
How long can a woman be mad at you for?
Well, it kind of depends on what you did.
Well, first of all, nothing on purpose. We were going out for a minute. Thought she was cool. I really liked her. But then I sort of accidentally slept with her roommate.
That doesn't help.
Jason thinks Ben must have unique experience in this area. Unbeknownst to him, Ben isn't paying attention to what Jason is saying at all. His gaze is already drawn to a charming woman. Only when the woman disappears from his sight does he come back to his senses and hit the nail on the head regarding the problem.
You didn't talk to her? What'd you do, send her a tweet?
No, of course not. I texted her a billion times. She didn't answer, so then I emailed her. But it was like a nice email. It was a long one, well thought out. Subject line, I wrote, "I'm sorry," with like a ton of O's. So it was like, "I'm sorry," with a sad emoticon where he's crying.
Ben shakes his head helplessly. He really can't help with that favor. Returning to his desk, Ben opens his email immediately, as always. This time, he finally receives an email from Becky. Jules's jacket is dirty and needs someone to take it for cleaning.
Sure, where is it?
She's wearing it.
At this very moment, the atmosphere inside the office is extremely oppressive. With the expansion of the company, the website's investors have begun to question Jules's leadership ability. They believe Jules's energy alone is too limited to cope with the company's increasingly complex operational needs, and they require her to hire an experienced external CEO to manage the company. First, this would lighten Jules's burden. Second, it would be more beneficial for the company's development. Jules is caught in a dilemma over this. She founded the company with her own hands, and she can't bear to let go. Once there is a boss, every idea has to be approved by him. How can she exercise her freedom? Jules cannot accept such an arrangement, and her emotions are hovering on the brink of collapse. Ben sees all of this. He doesn't persuade her directly. Instead, he interrupts their conversation.
On your jacket?
Jules composes herself, takes off her jacket, and pushes it in front of Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Of course.
Walking out of the conference room, Becky can't help but ask what happened inside. But Ben doesn't say a word. As a young female founder, Jules's biggest taboo is being seen as emotional or as a novice who needs to be taken care of. Ben has a precise understanding of this. His help always carries a sense of propriety that never crosses the line. Unknowingly, he preserves the image Jules should have as a boss. At clock-out time, Jules puts on sunglasses and leaves dashingly. No one notices anything unusual. Only Ben knows that hidden under those sunglasses is a pair of eyes red from crying. The next morning, however, a rare smile appears on Jules's face. The desk that used to be piled with clutter has suddenly become neat and tidy. Although she is used to working in such an environment every day, she often feels annoyed by it.
Wasn't me.
Ben came in at 7 this morning and did it.
Who?
Ben, your intern.
Ben Whittaker. Someone's very happy.
Brilliant! Thank you! Best thing that's happened around here all week.
Ben wins the recognition and praise of his colleagues. As a reward, Jules sends him the company's best masseuse, Fiona. During the massage, Fiona intentionally increases the pressure. Ben's heart, which hasn't made waves for anyone in a long time, begins to race. Davis and Jason smile at each other, and immediately Davis silently hands a newspaper to the flushed Ben to help him hide his embarrassment. Soon, the massage ends and Fiona proactively hands him her business card. Ben pretends to be calm but secretly rejoices after Fiona leaves.
You're not as old as I thought you were.
Gradually, no one thinks Ben's suit is old-fashioned anymore. This charming old man has won everyone's heart with sincerity. They chat and share life's troubles. Fresh graduate Davis complains that college students today are worthless. He can't even afford the cheapest studio apartment, and his parents only gave him 2 weeks. Just then, Ben looks out the window and sees Jules's driver, Mike, drinking. Jules is waiting for the elevator. Ben thinks it over and decides to go downstairs to warn him nicely, but Mike doesn't appreciate it.
I don't know what you're talking about, man. Why don't you tell her you can't drive her today or I'm gonna have to?
In the end, under Ben's gaze, Mike compromises. He asks Jules for sick leave on the grounds of not feeling well. Ben naturally steps up to offer his services.
I'm happy to cover for Mike.
That's okay, Becky can drive me.
Really? You want to give him more to do?
Just like that, Ben becomes Jules's driver. Not long after, Jules's mother suddenly calls.
And everything you hear in the car is strictly confidential, okay?
Goes without saying.
Her mother is a sleep expert who has published books on efficient sleep management. Yet, she is helpless regarding her own daughter's insomnia. According to her research, women who sleep less than 6 hours gain significantly more weight compared to those who sleep 7 hours. Facing her mom's blunt criticism, Jules can only smile helplessly. Her to-do list is always full. Sleeping 5 hours a day is a luxury for her, and sometimes she even forgets to eat. Ben sees all of this. So when Jules returns to the car after finishing work, Ben has already prepared warm chicken soup for her.
You really didn't have to do... Oh my god, that smells so good.
Good.
Soon, the phone rings again. Cameron asks about the result of the meeting. Turns out Jules has agreed to the proposal of hiring a CEO, but she must interview the candidates personally. Clearly, the one just now didn't pass. The guy was a self-righteous sexist.
The man never blinked. An Olympian non-blinker.
Okay then.
Yeah. See you in the AM?
Be there, be square.
I'm sorry.
Hey, don't be.
Soon, the car arrives at Jules's house. Jules expresses her most sincere gratitude for everything Ben has done, while Ben remains genuine at this moment.
You're very welcome.
It's okay, I really won't bite.
You started this business all by yourself a year and a half ago, and now you have a staff of 220 people. Remember who did that?
Who? Thank you.
And I hate to say it, but try to get some sleep.
Jules's husband and her lovely daughter come out to welcome her. Seeing this happy family of 3, Ben leaves with satisfaction. Jules's husband, Matt, was once a moderately well-known executive music management talent with several companies extending job offers to him. But when Jules decided to start the website, he chose to step back and return to the family. But as time passed, the distance between them grew further and further. Jules leaves early and returns late. Apart from their daughter, Paige, she and Matt have no other common topics. That night, Ben suddenly receives a call from Becky. The driver, Mike, has suddenly gone incommunicado. To avoid affecting Jules's schedule, Becky asks Ben to replace the driver and pick Jules up downstairs. The next morning, Ben agrees happily. The next morning, he rings the doorbell as instructed by Becky and steps aside, waiting quietly for Jules to get in the car. But just then, Matt walks out. He warmly invites Ben into the house to wait. And Ben, unable to refuse such kindness, gladly accepts. Ben has no idea that this has already touched on one of Jules's taboos. For her, home is her private space and Ben is just a colleague. This intrusion breaks the balance she carefully maintains and makes her feel offended. Ben is completely unaware of this. Back in the car, Ben is still unsparingly praising Matt's diligence and capability. Jules frowns, acting indifferent on her face, but secretly sends a message to Cameron. Jules's destination today is the warehouse. But at the next intersection, Ben turns left early. Jules reminds him he went the wrong way, but Ben bluntly states he knows a faster shortcut. Thus, they arrive at the destination 12 minutes early. As the founder of the website, Jules views this e-commerce company as her lifeblood. From front-end customer service to back-end warehousing, she handles every link personally. She rolls up her sleeves and picks up a gift box to demonstrate. Her fingertips trace the edge of the box to align the wrapping paper, folding a precise straight crease. Her tone carries a perfect obsession with detail. Ben has never seen anyone so wholeheartedly devoted to a company. Jules's music success is no accident, but the clearest proof of her passion for the work. At the same time, Ben's second spring arrives as promised. His dates with Fiona become more frequent, and every time Fiona brings him the ultimate massage experience. Unfortunately, they are often interrupted by Davis passing by.
Oh my God.
Wait.
I'm sorry, I'm leaving. Sorry, don't stop. I'm leaving. Oh, my shoe.
That night, Jules once again works late into the night alone. Suddenly, she notices a faint light not far away and is surprised to find Ben is still there, keeping her company working late. So, she takes pizza and wine and comes to Ben.
I hate eating alone.
So do I.
It is also tonight that Jules talks about Ben's past. He worked at a phone book printing company, going from sales to management, and finally becoming vice president, staying for a full 40 years. Hearing this, Jules finally realizes,
Wasn't this a factory that used to make phone books? No. What?
this place is where Ben used to work. He points to a spot near the window. His office used to be there, overlooking the entire factory floor. He knows everything about this building. Every brick, every tile, every blade of grass, and every tree. He even remembers when the fig tree at the entrance was planted. It turns out the company didn't choose him. He chose this place. Jules suddenly smiles. She suddenly understands the source of the familiarity she feels with Ben. He carries not only 40 years of workplace wisdom, but also the heavy memories within this building. They start from Ben's past, and Jules naturally reveals her feelings. Later, they talk about interests, moving from workplace confusion to the trivial details of life. This defenseless honesty makes two people dozens of years apart feel like partners on the same frequency, gently smoothing out the anxiety and unease in the bottom of their hearts. When the car arrives downstairs at Jules's house, Jules's eyes are closed tight. Her originally furrowed brows are completely relaxed, and a soft snoring sound begins. Not loud, but incredibly real. Ben doesn't wake her immediately. Instead, he sits quietly in the driver's seat and waits. It isn't until a few minutes later that Jules opens her eyes in a daze.
Was I snoring?
No, just sleeping.
Usually, she is overwhelmed with work in the car. Thinking about it, she hasn't slept this soundly in a long time. She feels deeply apologetic while Ben remains sincere.
Yeah, we noticed.
I'll pretend I believe you.
This tolerance and protection, akin to a father's, quietly melts Jules's bravado and makes her open her heart.
I love this house. It just looks happy to me. Like if it was in a kid's book, it would make you feel good when you turn the page and saw it. You know what I mean?
They look at each other and smile, waving goodbye. That night, the couple also rarely begins to resonate on the same frequency. The next morning, when Jules walks out the door in high heels, her steps are lighter. That bright red dress was specifically chosen by her. After chatting with Ben the previous night, the boulder pressing on her heart seems half as heavy. Her mood is just like this dress, so bright that she can't hide her smile. She habitually walks toward the black sedan parked at the street corner, greeting the driver enthusiastically, but the response comes from a stranger's face.
Morning, I'm Doris. They asked me to drive you today. Are you all set back there and got your seatbelt fastened?
What happened to Ben?
Oh, somebody said that he got transferred.
Clearly, She has already forgotten about reassigning Ben, but now it is too late for regrets. But what upsets Jules more is that Doris has poor driving skills. Not only is she unfamiliar with the route, but she almost causes a car accident on the road.
Oh my! Whoa! Oh,
Come on.
hold your horses, maniac! Which way, hon? I'm all
Doris?
turned around here.
Doris!
In the end, Jules drives herself through this incident. She truly feels Ben's reliability and realizes her decision to transfer Ben due to privacy concerns was too rash. So she immediately finds Ben, sincerely apologizes to him, explains that she made the transfer decision because she felt insecure, and hopes Ben can return to her side as driver and assistant. Ben accepts happily. Later, Jules arranges for Ben's desk to be moved next to her office and clearly states that Ben will assist her with work alongside Becky. This arrangement causes Becky's emotions to spiral out of control instantly. She was Jules's main assistant, bearing high-intensity work for a long time. Yet, she always felt her efforts weren't sufficiently valued. Now, with Ben's arrival, especially being placed in such close proximity, she feels a strong sense of crisis. Believing her job status is threatened and her years of effort might be easily replaced, she breaks down on the spot. Ben keenly perceives the change in Becky's emotions. He doesn't go to comfort Becky directly, but gives Jason a look. Ben explains the reason for his working by her side, simply to assist with work better and improve efficiency, not to replace her position. At the same time, he hands Becky a handkerchief.
But I heard women who sleep less than 7 hours a night gain 38% more weight than women who sleep more than 7 hours a night.
What? I leave here at 11, I get back at 7, I sleep like 5 hours a night, and now I'm gonna get fat?
But this is far from enough. Ben specifically goes to Jules and skillfully mentions Becky's many contributions and shining points in her daily work, making Jules realize Becky's value. After hearing Ben's reminder, Jules suddenly realizes her oversight and understands that she failed to take Becky's feelings into account. She promises to communicate with Becky and express recognition and affirmation of her work. Just like that, this potential workplace trust crisis is resolved. Ben also further wins the recognition and respect of his colleagues with his meticulousness and high emotional intelligence. Not only that, he takes in Davis, who is homeless due to financial difficulties. When Davis walks into Ben's home for the first time, he is immediately shocked by the scene before him. Ben's home is arranged meticulously, reflecting his serious attitude towards life everywhere. Facing various questions thrown by Davis, Ben shares his knowledge without reservation.
The best reason to carry a handkerchief is to lend it. Ask Jason about this. Women cry, Davis. We carry it for them. One of the last vestiges of the chivalrous gin.
Ben doesn't put on airs because of his age and rich experience. Instead, he communicates with Davis as an equal like a friend. Furthermore, Ben's return brings many unexpected warm moments to Jules. He often accompanies Paige for breakfast, listening to the little girl chatter about interesting things at school. Paige also genuinely likes this grandpa who patiently chats with her and finds ways to praise her. With Ben as this gentle lubricant, Jules and Paige have many more topics to chat about. Just then, Becky calls. There is a problem with the website's purchase link, and the company's turnover begins to drop significantly. Just as Jules is overwhelmed, her mother calls at an inappropriate time. She knows nothing about how the company operates, yet points fingers at her daughter's way of working. Jules, unable to bear it any longer, sends a ranting email to her best friend, but accidentally sends it to her mother instead. She is burning with anxiety and convenes an emergency meeting. Sending the wrong email isn't a huge deal in itself, but her mother has a minor heart condition, and the slightest surprise might be too much for the old lady. This concern makes Becky dare not take it lightly. Hearing this, everyone starts brainstorming, but most ideas are unrealistic. At this time, Ben calmly gives a countermeasure.
Me and the boys take off, we break into your mom's house, and we steal her computer.
Although nervous, it isn't hard to see that the eyes of the four people are filled more with excitement. Drawing on his life experience, Ben clearly divides the labor for the action. One person acts as a lookout while the others are responsible for finding the computer and deleting the email. However, the process isn't as simple as imagined. They have just opened the door when the alarm suddenly goes off. Without the password, it will automatically trigger an alert in 60 seconds. Ben immediately calls Jules. Meanwhile,
This is so not good. What are we supposed to do, Ben? What are we...
Stop eating. Go look for the computer. Right now. Go. No, separately.
fortunately, the two quickly find the computer and it has no password set. But the moment they open the computer,
Oh my god!
I knew there was no such thing as a fake alarm! We're gonna get arrested! I knew it! That's it! We're dead! Our fingerprints are all over this place!
Ben, did you see the email?
Not yet.
Double time it, dude!
Hey, let me.
luckily, they react quickly, racing against time to delete, music the email, put the computer back in its original place, and flee the scene rapidly. At this moment, Jason in the car is still immersed in music, unable to extricate himself.
Someone come through this motherfucker. There's always a
Open the door!
Get money, get cash that check for me. Come on, people, just bust your top.
Open the fucking door!
Oh, okay, okay.
Hold on, I got it!
The mission is successfully completed and they pop champagne in a bar to celebrate. But not long after, Jules leaves early because she can't hold her liquor well and Ben takes her home early. He can't stay long tonight because he has a very important date tomorrow. It's just that the date location is a bit special.
Benji, you brought a date to a funeral. Unreal. We had plans. Who knew this was going to happen?
Fortunately, Fiona doesn't mind and even actively holds Ben's hand. Unfortunately, all of this is seen by the neighbor lady, who has admired Ben for a long time. Ben using a friend's funeral as their formal date occasion seems unconventional, but it hides his sincerity. He never intentionally avoids his life trajectory but faces Fiona in a real state. Fiona also understands this frankness. Their interaction lacks deliberate romantic tropes. It is more about companionship that fits each other's rhythm. The next morning, Jules can't get away from work, and Matt has caught a cold. So Ben replaces them to take Paige to a classmate's birthday party. Unintentionally, Ben hears other full-time mothers making cynical remarks about Jules because she focuses on her career. Ben doesn't remain silent, but bravely stands up to fight back.
Tough. Jules, sure. She's a total badass. I guess that's how she became an internet sensation. Must make you guys proud, huh? One of your own out there every day crashing the glass ceiling of the tech world.
He not only maintains Jules's dignity and respect in front of everyone, but also carefully protects her beautiful image in the child's eyes. Unexpectedly, on the way home, he sees an unbearable scene. Matt is sitting in a car talking to a strange woman, their posture intimate. Ben looks at the cute little girl behind him. He doesn't go forward, but silently circles the neighborhood again and again. When he and Paige return home, Matt has been waiting at the door for a long time. Ben gently carries Paige back to her room and looks at Matt meaningfully, but never speaks. Back at the company, he remains absent-minded because he doesn't know whether to tell Jules. He fears she can't handle it, yet fears she is being kept in the dark. Just then, Jules invites Ben to accompany her to San Francisco to interview a potential external CEO candidate. Like countless times before, to maintain Jules's dignity, Ben chooses to confess everything when no outsiders are present. However, before he can speak, Jules breaks the silence first.
I got a weird one for you. Matt is cheating on me.
Wait a minute. You know about this?
What does that mean? You know about this?
I saw them together
Oh my god, when?
yesterday.
It turns out that 18 days ago, Jules had already sensed her husband's abnormality. She accidentally saw text messages on Matt's phone and knew everything. Not knowing what to do, she could only choose to escape, constantly numbing herself with work. She simply couldn't believe that the husband, who once gave up everything for the family, would betray her now. She even once thought that her husband's affair was because she was too addicted to work, believing her success endangered her husband's due dignity. To buy time to save the marriage, she decided to accept the investor's suggestion to hire an external CEO to share the work, trying to win back Matt with a promise of returning to the family. But she knows very well in her heart that even if they reconcile, the previous feelings will no longer exist. What frightens her more is that she knows she has a quick temper. She is afraid that after the divorce, no one will be able to tolerate this temper, and she will end up single for life, even buried in the stranger's single section of the cemetery after death.
You can be buried with me and Molly. I happen to have space, okay?
Thank you so much. I think I didn't even want to hire you.
The one time I don't have my hanky.
The next day, Jules interviews the last candidate. His philosophy fits Jules highly. He is familiar with the operational logic of the internet clothing industry and understands her original intention when creating the company. Jules admits to Ben that this candidate is the most suitable one. But Ben tells her that if they eventually disagree, the final decision-making power will be in the candidate's hands. Returning home at night, Matt greets her at the door as usual. Although Jules smiles, she's exhausted when she turns around. She goes to the bathroom and begins to sob silently. Hidden in the tears is not only the pain of marriage, but also the unwillingness to lose her career. So the next morning, she finds Ben again. But before she speaks, Ben gives his answer.
And you're going to give that up in the hopes that your husband will stop having an affair? I don't see how that adds up. You should feel nothing but great about what you've done.
Ben's patient guidance helps Jules regain her confidence. However, before she can make a decision, Matt rushes over breathless.
I hope I'm not too late. Don't do this for me, Jules. Please, just do what feels right for you.
Oh my God. I want to continue running my company, Matt. You gotta know that.
Then do it. I don't want you to be unhappy.
I'm already unhappy.
Matt actively confesses the fact of his cheating. When he learns that Jules plans to give up her career to save the marriage, his guilt reaches its peak. He admits that the affair is his problem, not that Jules is too focused on work, and encourages her to keep her dream. Jules finally understands that the key to saving the family is not returning, but coexistence with mutual respect. External pressure and internal obsession reach a reconciliation at this moment. She no longer has to use her cherished career as a bargaining chip to maintain her marriage. Jules finally refuses to hire a CEO and chooses to continue persisting in her career. She also joins Ben's Tai Chi group, stretching her taut nerves and slow movements. She finally accepts her imperfect self. She can be an entrepreneur, a mother, and a wife simultaneously without getting completely lost in any role. This persistence in her career ultimately becomes her confidence to reconcile with life. At first, Ben was just a workplace intern. While young Jules was an intern of life, Ben breaks into the internet company with the order of the traditional workplace. He helps Becky regain her work value and teaches Davis gentlemanly demeanor. And the young people, led by Jules, awaken Ben's old age with the vitality of modern society, letting him walk out of depressed loneliness, regain his heartbeat in his interactions with Fiona, and find life's passion in the vitality of young people. This two-way nourishment also breaks the stereotypical perception of the age gap. Ben doesn't understand internet systems, but he understands the complexity of human nature. Jules is familiar with internet logic, but she needs Ben's life wisdom to calibrate her direction. Just like in reality, elders learn to use smartphones from juniors, and juniors learn the ways of the world from elders. What's important is not who taught whom, but using each other's light to illuminate each other's blind spots. And Ben's perfectly ironed shirt and the handkerchief he carries with him all highlight his patience in dealing with people and things. In contrast to the restlessness that consumes modern people, watching short videos at double speed, skimming only the headlines of long articles, and even hoping to build relationships through instant matching, staring at KPIs while working, but forgetting the process of accumulating experience, pursuing crash course techniques while studying, but unable to endure the loneliness of deep cultivation. Like someone blindly following trends to invest or job hop to achieve financial freedom before 35. Never thinking about what they truly love. Someone clocking in at internet-famous spots just to take a few photos and leave in a rush. Ordering like crazy at a restaurant just to take food promotional photos, yet never savoring the aroma. We treat the result as the only goal, losing the scenery and growth along the chase. We know too many other people's lives, blurring our own direction and countless others' lives, never truly calming down to enjoy the moment. We treat efficiency as the highest standard, forgetting that people are the core of life.